Welcome to another video, part of this series where we're building a filter form with Django. We've now added React to the project using the Django React boilerplate. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start building this React form. And the library we're going to use to do this is ant_d. And if you've taken a look at any of the code in the source directory, then you'd see that we actually already have ant_d as a dependency. So what we're going to do first is install those dependencies. So we're just going to run npm I. Also, if you don't have any of the project code, you can just go to our DJ filter GitHub repository and you can clone or download this to work along with us in this video. And so with this all installed, we can get started. So I'm going to open up a second terminal here. In this first one, we're going to activate the virtual environment and I'm going to run the server. And in the second terminal, I'm going to run the front end. And we can do this with just npm start. All right, so here's the front end. And so what we're going to do is take a look at ant_d. So I'm going to search for ant_d. And this is ant design, which is a React library. You can just click on get started and let's go down to form because we're basically going to be building this exact form but in React, and we can scroll down all the way to this nice form here which has a couple of inputs that we can use. So I'm just going to copy this code and we can get rid of that for now. So inside source, in containers, I'm going to create a new file. We can call this form.js and we'll just paste everything there. Then I'll just say export default filter form and we can replace this as actually wrapped filter form. And then we'll come up to the top and we'll call this class the filter form. Cool. Then we can go into our roots and here we're going to import that form. So we'll say import form from containers form, and then we'll duplicate a root there and specify the form as the component, and we'll just specify the path as an empty string like that. And so if we take a look at this, it says React is not defined. So if we go to the top, just say import React from React. And it says demo is not defined. So if we go down here, this is the filter form. And there we go. So what we want is basically 3 search forms or search fields. And then we're going to get the category, which will be a select. And we'll have the 2 date fields and the minimum and maximum view count, and then these 2 checkboxes. So basically, we're just going to look for those fields if they're not in here already. So we can get rid of everything that we don't need, which is all of that, plus the slider, the switch. We'll keep the input number, and we'll get rid of the select multiple, and we'll keep the select as well. So let's go get rid of some of the stuff then. Cool. And let's take a look at this now. All right, so we'll get rid of all the labels as well, and we can change these radio items to be the reviewed and not reviewed. Cool, now we can just fix this offset. So we can get this here from this wrapper column, and we'll just specify that as the wrapper column span and offset there. We could get rid of the label column. All right, there we go. Then we can change this to be the filter journal's title, which we can change as like an H1 tag. And we can then say, please select a category, but we actually don't need it to be required. So we can get rid of this entire validation there. And this will be select the category. Then the first input number will say has 0 as a minimum, no maximum, placeholder as 0. And we don't need an initial value there either. And this can be minimum views. Then we'll just copy that, paste it, and we get maximum views. And we can say that this field decorator will be minimum views, and this one can be maximum views. And then we can specify these categories here. I'm just going to get rid of one of them, and we'll talk about how we can generate these options. And so now let's just try and find a search input. So there should be one here under input. And if we scroll down, we can use something like this. So let's just actually view the code, and we'll just take the second one. And then we'll come here, we'll say form.item, paste it in there. And this is going to be the same placeholder there, so title contains. And then we'll just copy that 2 more times. And this can be exact ID. And this will be title or author contains. So like that. And it's saying search is not defined, and that's because we need to get it from there. So we'll just go to the top, and we can actually get rid of the no file, and we'll just paste that there. We can get rid of some of these imports, and if we take a look now, then we just need input there as well. Cool, so we've got the title search bar, the exact ID search bar, this search bar, and we've got the minimum and maximum view counts here. We've got reviewed and not reviewed, and we're just missing a date selection. So what we can do is we'll look back at the forms, and we can look at time related. So we'll go with the range picker, and we can just show the code there. And then we'll just copy that form item there. We can bring this here just before the input numbers, and I'll get rid of the label. And we also don't need the range config there. So if we take a look now, then okay, we need to import the range picker. And okay, this actually comes from date picker. So then we'll just copy this here. And we don't need month picker either. So if we check this out, cool, now we have a date selection as well. Cool, so there are all our fields. And then one last thing is the selection of this category. And there's 2 ways we can do this. The one is by fetching the data and then loading it in, rendering it in, or we can just hard code it. And what we're going to do in the beginning is hard code it. And hopefully by the end of the React part of this tutorial series, you'll be able to see how you can fetch the categories and do that on your own. So for the time being, let's go and add those in. Just go to core management, create data, and we'll just copy those in there. Then we'll come down and just paste that there for a second. And then we'll just fill these categories in. Cool, there we go. Now we've got our categories and we have our form displaying. And in the next one, we can get started with actually just filling in the data and making requests to the backend and getting that data rendering. So if you've enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.